Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's ACYSD's webinar. Tonight's webinar is Forex Trade Live Market Analysis. And coming up in the week, tomorrow we're going to go through the figure. So at 7 p.m. Sydney time. What is it and how you can use it in your trading. And then on Thursday, we've got more a live Forex market review. More Forex analysis on the 1st of June, 7 p.m. Sydney time. So that's what's coming up through the week. Live market analysis tonight. So with that in mind, let's get into it. If you could read through the disclaimer, that would be great. Any questions to the chat box or the question answer box. If you're on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but I'll give you the link to come into the webinar. So just use it so you can talk to me. If that's what you want to do. All right, so everybody please read through the disclaimer before we move along. All right, we'll move along. So if you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor at ACY Securities. And I'm a full-time trader. I've been trading the Forex market now for more than 15 years, mentoring for more than 10 years. If you want to contact me, my email is there on screen, duncan.cooper@acy.com. Hello there, Azu. Through the week, you can connect with me on our website. You just go to the Market News tab at acy.com, get my analysis there, or our YouTube channel, ACY Securities Australia, or head over to my Twitter or LinkedIn, you'll get my analysis there too. And through the week, if you want to connect with us in our Telegram channel, then just contact Nathan.bray. Our analysis is posted there first before it maybe is posted somewhere else. So getting immediate access, just contact Nathan.bray. I'll put his details in the chat in a moment. As well, if you want to get access to my MT4 chart layouts and templates, then contact Nathan. And I'll just put his details in the chat so you can contact him. So there we go. Now, as well, if you got, if you need to set up a demo account and you struggle with that whole concept, just contact Nathan. If you need help setting up a live account, if that's what you want to do too, just contact Nathan. He's a go-to man. He'll help you with anything. Azu saying nice on the euro dollar. Well, I don't know if it's quite gotten up to the level yet, but it's definitely been moving down. All right, well, we'll get into the charts in a moment. First, we'll just get into the news coming up for the week, or at least over the next couple of days. So midnight tonight, we have the USCB consumer confidence for the US. Tomorrow morning, RBA Governor Lowe speaks for the Aussie, and we've got the Aussie CPI data coming out, expecting maybe an uptick in inflation there. Then we have German prelim CPI coming out through the day, Wednesday. But the bigger one for the week will be moving into there on, well, we got the ISM manufacturing PMI data on midnight Friday, but then moving into the evening on Friday, we have the unemployment rate, non-farm employment change figures. All right, so it's time for Queens and time. But just head over to Forex Factory. You can then set this up to your time zone so you know when things are coming out. All right, so let's head into the charts. Some of these pairs are a little bit choppy at the moment. They've been moving one way in Asia, moving the opposite way as we've been into London trading. But let's get into the dollar index, have a look at this. Just want to go to the monthly chart because with these tops here, 103.82 and 103.81, we are above these double tops. So I think price is much more focused on now with above those tops, this range here. Can we move up to the top of the range, and then what happens at the top of the range? If we got it back to the monthly chart for a moment, very positive month up. Can we have another positive month? Last time we had a very positive month up, we started up for the month and then dropped all the way back down. So can we put in another month like this month? one more trading day to go. So are we seeing long-term support here for another further move up through the course of the year? We'll have to wait and see, but at least to navigate above these highs on the weekly chart for that to occur. Day chart at the moment for the dollar index is most definitely up. We did have a holiday yesterday, so things maybe were a little bit slow going. We have moved down through Asia, moved back up through London, so maybe orders were a bit thinly placed until people really got back from holidays. So that's just showing you an uptrend at the moment. S&P 500. Indices at the moment, the dollar index is going up and indices are going up. So we are moving above the weekly tops here, potentially, that we've been holding at. So the next major level on the S&P 500 is at 143.23. Sorry, it's at 43.23. So if you're long, that's the next key level to watch. Getting long, it is very high up here in the atmosphere in terms of the range. Excuse me a moment. All right, so I'm just struggling with a bit of a cold. Just came on today. I might have to stop a couple of times to blow my nose. All right, so we are seeing an uptrend on the indices at the moment. So it's a little bit counter to the correlation that we normally see. If US dollar is rising, stock market's not generally rising. So maybe the job figures. We obviously got the debt ceiling that they're trying to finalize. So maybe it's all to do with the debt ceiling. That's why we got this mix of correlation. We'll have to wait and see what the whole debt ceiling brings. But for me at the moment, if I was trading S&P 500, I would need to wait for, I'd have to draw a fib across the current trend and look for like a 62 or 79% pullback. That's at the high end of the move at the moment. That's where people are taking profits potentially. All right, so you need to look for pullback there in a perfect world if you want to be a buyer with that current day chart trend. All right, let's have a look at the euro dollar. And I did put out on Telegram today about price coming up to retest 107.36, but we didn't get that high. And we've broken below day support now, the current level. This level here. And now we're continuing with this little area of support here. But 106.35 is from the monthly chart. Hello there, Satish. So if you go to your monthly chart, there's a significant low here. So we could be heading down towards a retest of that area. It's at 106.35. But very negative once it's completely failed up there at the 110.33. So the question will be, as we head out of this month into a new month, can we next month come down to 105.16? So I'm always looking to sell a rally. The current level that we've just broken is at 107.13. So I was looking up at 107.36, but that's now not in the mirror. So, and we've done the range for the day, but if you draw a fib across the range of the day, 62% level here, we're moving back below the figure. So maybe the figure here and last week's low, 107.12 is where resistance is maybe now starting to form intraday for another move down to test the low of the day. Okay. I'd much prefer, from a executing a trade perspective, there's a 79% level here that overlaps with the day chart broken support. So 107.13 to 107.14, that would be a much preferred level. I always like to sell at the higher fib level rather than the lower level. But over the next day or two, whatever your trading strategy is, I will start to think about 107.100. If we close down below 107.100 a day at the end of the day, 10700 could well be starting to become resistance for the week. Last week, 10800 became resistance. So we've had our first real move below 10700. So start to watch the 10700 area through the week. Are we clearly below it? If we are, we'll look for a rally back to that level. But right now, as we head towards New York, I would be looking up here at 107.14 to 13, that area up there. But of course, price might not get up to that level. You need to make a decision. Do you want to trade here very close to the 107 level? Or do you want to wait for a higher pullback? All right, if we move to the Euro Yen, I've just been monitoring where it's positioned up here from that move down. We're contending with the 79% level of that move down, but this is, I'm looking at that range from high to low. I know we've broken above this top, so you could say you should be drawing your fib the opposite way. But what I'm seeing on the highest time frame is we're at significant monthly area over here, 151.61. And we've been below this top. We're back above it at the moment. So we're in between two levels of monthly support and resistance. One being support, one being resistance. All right. But it isn't an uptrend, but we're at very high levels. I always get cautious when we're at such high levels of engaging, getting too cute to the long side, especially when you're testing major levels of resistance. So at the moment, the weekly trend is up. I'm not trading this pair at the moment, but I am looking to see what it does by the end of the week. If we get a negative weekly finish, we could be putting in a lower top here. I know this isn't an uptrend, but I just know that we're at very high prices. So I'm just waiting to see if it can show a hand. Does it want to put in a lower top? 151.61 is the weekly level. The monthly level is at 151.71, if my memory serves me. So we couldn't quite get to the monthly level. That low just there. All right, it's 151.70. I was out by a pip. So to your day chart here, we did get a kind of a reversal candle yesterday. See that reversal candle there, and then we traded down, came into the area of that reversal candle and then sold down. So I'm just looking for a clear signal up here. If it shows me a clear sell signal, I'm going to start to look to short. For me, at the moment, it is very high up. If you want to be on the buy side, that day chart trend is up. We have actually dipped down to the monthly support level at 149.77 today. So if you want to be on the buy side, you probably missed the best opportunity, which was looking for a reversal back up at 149.77. So you could monitor. If we come back down to 149.77 or close to in this area today, then you may well see another support come in. And if intraday price action gives you a very tight entry to be a buy down here, that may well offer you that opportunity. Okay, so of course at the moment, the last candle's just shot up 40 pips. So it's very volatile at the moment. It's filling the imbalance in this drop here. Now, if you want to be on the sell side in the current trading range of the day, you could be monitoring this 79% level right now, where it's just filling the imbalance. You know, if we come up to the central pivot point maybe as well, and we just start to hold here, can you see a setup to sell in this area? It false moved above the central pivot point earlier in the day. It actually rejected once, false broke here. We may well see a top out here. So can you see a setup here to sell? Could be simply selling at the 79% level, stop above the high if you like to trade on first contact, or wait for prices to start to trade around that area. Do you start to see it turn over to the downside? All right, so there's actually two. You could trade this up or down depending on what your mode of operation is. All right. Euro pound has been breaking down. It's been range bound for 2 or 3 weeks. I was looking at maybe 86.69 weekly support and day support at 86.60 to maybe hold to trade back up the range. But what we're definitely seeing today is prices breaking down. So Just come back to the 4-hour chart here at the moment. I would be dragging my fib now from that top down and then monitoring for a pullback to the 62 to 70. Now, what I'd like to see is that we trade down enough so that the 62 or the 79% level, that would be perfect. If the 62% level overlap with broken support, the weekly level is at 86.69. There's also 4-hour support in that area too. So I always like to have more than one thing overlapping in an area. So if it can continue down into a very good 4-hour downtrend, do we then see a rally back up? All right, that's the euro crosses. Now let's get into the pound. And last week we did have the CPI data come out Thursday. Today chart here. That was that day just there. It tried to move back above this double top area, but couldn't. So that's negative. There's a minor top there, and that's the high of last week, I think, from memory. And we're just retracing back up inside the weekly range at the moment. So I'm just monitoring. That's the high of last week. So I like to have a fib drawn across the high and low of the range of the week. And sometimes the pound will only get to the 50% level. And where the 50% level is, 23.91 is there. So that's broken day support from last week. And I would also be watching the 2400 level. So we're just popping up at the moment. There's also a smaller range. That's the weekly range that you can monitor. Higher up at 124.36 up to 124.48. That's the monthly resistance level, 124.48. 79% fib at 124.36. That would be a great area to watch through the week. If we did get that high, we can often retrace to the 79% level of the weekly range and then just trade down for the rest of the week. So that would be a great area to watch if we could get up there. In today's trading, we'll probably more see the potential of a test of 123.91 in the figure. So as I'm talking, it's just moving up. So this area up here, we're in the red area of the pivot points. So once you get in the red area of the pivot points, we went through pivots last week, you will get selling pressure. So up here, 124.00 down to 123.91, broken day support. You've also got Friday's high here too at 123.95, sitting in the middle of that range. This will be a great area to watch for a failure today. Okay. You know, if you want to be a buyer, you don't want to buy at the top of the move. So at the moment, I don't see anything there to do from a buying perspective. And the trend from the day chart perspective is down. So they'll look for opportunities to sell in line with the trend. Even though intraday price is moving up, that doesn't mean say we've got a change in trend. We're just, you know, price has been to a low level. It's moving up to a corrective level somewhere. So this is, we can watch that a little bit later. Pound yen, I am sure, is moving up. Looks like it's broken this monthly top over here quite clearly at the moment. Next level is over here, 174.87, 174.87, and this area over here, 174.83. That's what I've got on my chart at the moment. That's the next level where I'm sure price will have some reaction at. All right, so we're on a trend, heading up, moving above this monthly top. And you can see we're at the high at the moment. So it's difficult to be a buyer at the moment because who wants to buy at the top of the move? So that being said, you need to look for at least a 4-hour pullback. You could be monitoring. There's a 4-hour low. Drag your fib up and look for a pullback. Okay. The best area for a pullback would be the area that we've broken above, which would be down here. We'll go back to the day chart. 172.32 and 172.13. That area there would be great for a pullback too, if the market can offer it. Now that we've broken above it last week, surely would be looking to that area for support if it pulled back. It's just a question of can it pull back. So That would be the better level to watch from a high level perspective, but from a 4-hour chart perspective at the moment, fib across the range, looking for a pullback. On the 15-minute chart, just want to see where price is. Very much at the high of the day. So did have nice support down at 173, but of course you can't go back in time. So I would just be dragging the fib up at the moment and then looking for a pullback. All right. Some of these pairs, are not in the position where you want to buy. This is especially, this is the high of the move at the moment. Why buy at the high of the move? Look for a pullback. All right, we'll head left. Now we've got the Aussie CPI data coming out. And I did put a video on this pair today, which it has been selling down, but popping back up. What's the Aussie doing? So the Aussie's a little bit positive for the day now. All right, so the day chart, first of all. And I've been discussing this high. This is March's high, February's high, January's high. We're in a whole bunch of monthly highs over here to the left. This is the high of May. And the range that I've been looking at is this range. So we actually did move back below the 79% level today, but obviously we're back above it at the moment. So we're definitely in the high area of the range. So I'm not looking to be a buyer in the high area of a range. And did put out today that this could be a left shoulder. I mean, we have traded down, but things are whipsawing around today. Could this be a head? Could a right shoulder form here? All right. So drawing a fib. So we had a double top up here and then we dropped down. Yesterday we came to the 79% level. Now we could move back to the 79% level once more, which is pretty much the figure at 92. Or we're trying to, the market's trying to ask itself, can it get above this 91.86 daily resistance level for the left shoulder or not? And if I drop down to the 50-minute chart, you can see another potential 79% level from the high yesterday to the current low of today. There's one there at 91.85. That's a very long candle. Often a move up or a move down finishes on a long candle, then we just trade back down. So I would be watching at the moment this 91.85, 91.86 area here. I'll just color it in. Do we start to move back below that level? If you do, can you see price move below? Put in a lower top at that area so it becomes resistance once more to move down. We couldn't pop up to 92. Fell there though yesterday, and we got the 79% level up there at the, let me just drop back to the 4-hour, 79% level there, pretty much the 92 level too. So we could revisit that level. We're just in the area where the market could put in the high of the day. So start to watch that for your setup to sell in that area for sure. Now, as well, we do have the CPI data coming out tomorrow. So depending on where price is when that comes out, now let's say we're down, back down to the low of today at the moment. We're down at the 91.28 area. Then, if whatever the data does tomorrow, if we come back up to these high levels, so if we come back up to 91.86 tomorrow, the 9200 level tomorrow, this seems to be the selling area at the moment for the pair. So it doesn't matter if price is a good 50, 60, 70 pips down, pricing gets spiked up to the sell area, close to the top of the range, and look for opportunity to trade down if that was what happens after CPI data tomorrow. Notably, if you're with me last week on the pivot point webinar, see how we came into the green zone here, and then we traded all the way back up. All right, Aussie dollar did have a very good week down. We're just getting a little bit of support down here at the moment. I will be watching at the moment, especially with tomorrow's CPI data, depending on where we are tomorrow. But if we're below these levels tomorrow, I would certainly watch 65.64, 65.73. If we're down in near the low of the day, watch for this area to be potential resistance tomorrow if we spike up. Clear downtrend at the moment to move down, okay? So that would be the area to watch. If things got really aggressive, we could maybe spike up to the 66 level. All right, but overall the trend is down. So don't be in opposition of the trend. Look to sell a rally and price could spike up to broken support from last week after the CPI data. In the short term, we are obviously upticking here. Now, it's a bit messy here on the 4-hour chart, but we have had a considerable sell-off and now we're rallying back up. And there are these highs to the left. And just excuse me one moment. All right, so I have to blow my nose again. Now, so these highs to the left, especially the higher one up there. Just go to the 1-hour chart. There's a high here, a few more highs seen now on the 1-hour chart where intraday trading has put in some areas of resistance. See how we're coming up. Let me just, resistance intraday from one day to the next at the moment is in this area. So you can see at the start of the day, we folks broke the top of that area and we're trading into that area right now. See these 1-hour highs here. And if we draw a fib across the range, don't forget the trend's down. We could come up into this area of resistance at the top if it really wants to, but you could start to watch for this to back off now from the 79% level. Look for your setup to sell. All right. Through the day, so that's your 1-hour resistance area there that I'm just showing you. In Asia, we did drop quite heavily and we did form a little bit of an imbalance in here, which right now we have just filled. So any imbalance on the day has been filled from the downside perspective. So we could start to hold there now at 65, 46, 79% fib level there in that 1-hour resistance area for a turnover. So you could be trading at the 79% level, stop above the high. You could be waiting for price action to start to hold here. Watch your setup to sell. Is it a trend line break? Can you see a trend line break form in this area to trade back down? High time frame trend is down. Okay. All right, I just want to head back to the pound. We've just smashed up to the 124 level. All right. Buy area that I said before. So that's a very big candle for counting the pips there. That's a good 30 pips. So, and did we have any news come out? Just want to refresh my memory. No news there that I can see that's caused that other than price is just moving up back within the range maybe of last week. All right, so just remonitoring that pound, 62% levels at 124.09. All right, so I would still be watching at the moment and readjusting to see what's going on. Just hit the 62 level right now. All right, 62% levels at 124.09 and the figures at 12400 there. We've done the range for the day. Once we've done the range for the day, we'll often pull back. So watch that level up there. Still moving up. All right. Let's get into the New Zealand pairs. New Zealand yen. We have a weekly top here and a weekly top here. Is this area all becoming resistance for the market once more? We significantly last week failed a monthly resistance up here, and now we're moving back below potentially these two weekly tops here. Are we moving down long term to the bottom of the range? So we failed at the top of the range. Are we moving down to the bottom of the range? Where price is right now, it's a little bit difficult because from a price action perspective, we've got higher bottom, higher top, heavy sell-off for monthly resistance. This is a higher bottom, but yesterday, last three, not including today, last three trading days have all held at that weekly top. So from my perspective, the best level to try and trade would be at 85.20 if we revisited, because this level could be support here at 84.91. So I'd much prefer to be trading down from 85.20. When if price comes down to 84.91, you can be risk free. Whereas if you sell right now, this could still be support and it could come back up and then it goes against you. So just have to work out what's the best thing to do. I would be watching to see what happens at 85.20 today. This is on the 4-hour chart, it's a little bit choppy. So sometimes I'm just needing more information. Price action could be going, in actual fact, above 85.40 if it wants to. So 85.20, 85.40's day resistance. Draw a fib across that range. It could be getting support down here at 79 to move higher. But even if it's getting support here, this area is a very difficult area. Is it support or resistance? So you have to work out which direction you think the overall market's moving in. And this isn't the perfect pair at the moment. But with that fire up at the top of the range, I would anticipate we're moving to the bottom of the range. So then I'm looking for an opportunity to sell. And I would watch 85.20 to see what happens around that level today. All right. Bit difficult, that pair at the moment. It would be nice if we had got some price action that traded convincingly down for maybe a good day down or two. And then you can then clearly look at 84.91 to be resistance to move down. So if you trade below that low, that will change the trend to down. And then you can look at this area to rally back to. But at the moment, we don't have that price structure. So just need a bit more information or better information to make a decision there. That's a very poor area to trade in at the moment. All right, New Zealand dollar has had very nasty decline last week. 2-day chart. Broke below two levels of support, 60.84, 61.10. We do have the opportunity of maybe a double top running out or a triple top running out here at the moment. But price never goes down in a straight line. So the double top price projection comes in down here at 58.40. And I would just be watching at the moment for price maybe to come up to 60.84 into that area or up to 61. That's at 61.10. So looking to see if price can come into that area, hold to form of maybe a further lower top to continue down in line with that double top. All right. I don't want to be selling at the bottom of last week. Can we move up to the area that we broke down through? Does it hold as resistance to move down? Okay. And if I head back to the Aussie a moment, there is a double top as well. All right. So starting to hold there, that 79% level maybe. But let me go back to my daily chart. There's a day chart double top here too, very similar to the New Zealand. I've discussed this before, but I didn't discuss it just before. There's a double top, draw a fib. My 200% price projection is the height of the pattern projected below. That's at 63.41. So both are very similar, but I don't want to be selling at the lower last week. You know, similar kind of trade setup maybe could occur on both of these pairs, back to broken weekly support being resistance to trade down. Okay. All right. So just monitor that New Zealand. Can it rally back up and offer you a lower top? Hello, Canadian. Now, I did say in my video this morning, watch 135.67 to be possible support to move back up. I mean, we could be failing at resistance up here to trade all the way down, but the level to watch today, tomorrow as we're very close to it, is 135.67. Does that hold to trade up? Trending down the day is up. All right, we've actually hit the level twice today. It's bouncing off twice. So, you know, support is showing there. As I'm talking, current candle has struck that level and it's reversing. If you've got a good reversal candle on the close here, maybe that's your opportunity to buy, stop a little bit below their level of support, trade back up. All right, twice today, we're in the green zone of the pivots, which have a buy nature, support nature to move back up within the range. So we're hitting day support twice there today. We've maybe traded below it 1 pip. So is support going to hold, continue up in line with the US dollar strength? So yeah, all the pairs slide with the US dollar to the US dollar have been moving up within their ranges, but we're only moving up within the range of last week. Yesterday, a number of countries in Europe were on holiday. The US was on holiday. So we had a bit of an inside day on a number of pairs yesterday. So with that in mind, the movement that we're having up at the moment could just be correcting some of last week's move. I mean, of course, they could move up all week. We'll have to wait and see. But, you know, if we get support here, this could be the low of the week for the dollar Canadian to move back up. All right. So you can watch that level. Dollar franc. Now, dollar franc has traded up to a new high today, but this is weekly resistance and monthly resistance. Clearly, the sellers are there because we're struggling to hold and move through the area, but we're still higher tops and bottoms, right? At the moment. I mean, we could simply pull back to the 90 level, 90.02, day support here, and hold. It's a bit of a tricky one, this at the moment. Is this like the final top to move all the way back down? Or, you know, if you go to the weekly chart, that's a monthly low over here, even though it's a weekly low. So you've got weekly lows all the way through here, weekly low here, weekly low here. So that's why you're seeing some selling pressure at the moment, because price is hitting these weekly lows. There's orders there to sell, and that selling pressure at the moment is driving price down. But, you know, from a monthly perspective at the moment, we're having a very positive month. Are we going to continue into a new month? We're false breaking this monthly low, and we're very low down in the 10-year kind of range that we've been trading in. You know, we're almost at the bottom of the range where price has been for 10 years. So, you know, we are getting pressure, selling pressure from these lows. All right, let's just have a look at the 4-hour chart. I would still, you know, price action here at the moment is very, very messy. You can see that it's moved to a lower bottom on the 4-hour chart, higher top, higher bottom, higher top. We need to break this low to go to a lower bottom, but even when it was messy in here, we still managed to get up to a higher point once more. I would just be watching day support, which is 90.02. Can price get down to that level? And then what happens there? That's your day chart level of support. The range for the week from last week, that's the high on last week. We'll just move up to the high of the new week. 62 levels here at 89.95. There's day support at 90.02. So I will be watching that level for potential support. What happens when price gets there? Do you start to see it turn around? If you do, the closer you can get long to 90.02 means then the more you're risk-free by the time that you're hitting 90.59 if we move back up at 90.84. All right, price might not break this low here. So as well, what you could be looking for is if we draw a fib across that range, it's been forming over the last day to two. All right, we may just be at the bottom of where we've been for the last, 36 hours or so. And we've done the range for the day. We could hold here. If we start to move back above the 79% level, we could trade all the way back up. All right. So just monitor. I mean, that can actually spike through the 4-hour low. Doesn't really doesn't significantly, doesn't change the day chart trend. It just breaks some 4-hour support. If that trades down through here, then starts to move back up. It starts to move back up underneath false breaking all these 15-minute lows here. This is overstretched to the downside at the moment. Even if we trade below there, if we start to close, I just want to put my box. There's a number of 50-minute lows here. All right. So from 90.31 down to 90.27. If we trade through those lows and then simply reject and then close back above this box, we will probably put the bottom in for the day and trade back up the range. So watch the area 2 for support. In a perfect world, though, getting down to daily support at 90.02 would be the perfect ideal area, but price might not get down to that level. It may hold in this area here. All right, dollar yen. I think there's some dollar yen news came out earlier. I did see on Forex Factory. Dollar yen dips on emergency meeting by Japanese authorities, whatever that is. So in any event, things are very choppy on the dollar yen. You can see it's moved up to a new high for the month, dropped up, down. It's absorbing all this information from that candle there at the moment. Looking at it, it looks a little bit suspicious, like just from that intraday movement. Price action, the 79% area is starting to hold, and we could well move back up the range. The day chart trend here is clearly up, even though it looks negative at the moment. 139.89. It's broken daily resistance, and this line here at 139.38 is broken weekly resistance. We could chart that area over there. And the next level, that 141.53 level to your monthly chart, is this area over here. Back up to these high levels once more to the left, back in at 1989-90 time zone there. So we are a little bit overstretched here at the moment. We could have a bit of a pullback. I will be watching 139.89 down to 139.38. This area here, this is the area of resistance that we moved above last week. So whilst it looks negative at the moment on those 4 hours candles, we could just go sideways here and then still continue up. All right. And on the 15-minute chart here at the moment, we may not break that low that was formed in Asia. Current candle there just right now is, we could close positive on that candle, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 stabs down here at 79% level, maybe getting ready to move back up the range. All right, there's the intraday area of support at the moment. Really, what price has done is, if there's any forms of imbalance on this move up here, price has dropped down to fill it. There's still a partial imbalance just here that maybe needs to be filled back to the upside. So if we are getting support at the 79% level here, whatever your trigger is to maybe buy, we could well see price come back up into this area. Last week's high, that's that dashed line at 140.71 to fill this imbalance. All right. All right, finally, let's have a look at gold. I just want to go back to the pound. Before we go into gold, let's have a look at the pound again. All right, pound, I mean, this could be the high. This could be the high of the week. Often, the range of last week, high to low, we come up to 62 or the 79% level. We're rejecting the 62 level at the moment. Just want to have a look on the 1 hour chart. All right. You start to see that pulling back, especially if it starts to pull back below 12400, can you see you're set up to sell? Because that cannot hold above 12400. It's just a whole bunch of stops maybe going off to drive it above 12400. What's that euro doing? All right, euro is moving back up, back to the central pivot point. All right, let's have a final look at gold. Has been breaking down. So to the weekly chart. Are we forming a triple top? It's on the monthly chart too. Is it a monthly chart triple top? False break, the two highs. Weekly chart triple top. We don't have a downtrend yet on the weekly chart, but we have plenty of rejection up here at the top. And we've moved below this level of support that we've been trying to hold on to, 1959. And these lows here, 1, 2, 3 on the weekly chart, we have traded below all three just, which are these areas here. All right, so the critical level to watch most definitely on gold is 1959. On any pullback, does it hold now as resistance? Bit choppy there at the moment, but that's the line in the sand between the buyers and the sellers at the moment. The sellers decided that they wanted to move below 1959. So that's the level to watch. You could as well draw a fib across the range of last week. We've been to a new low this week. And we can trade above 1959. 1964 is the 62 level. Yeah, it's okay to trade above, but what you don't want it to hold above. If you want to be a seller, you want to see this come up and reject. So we could come up to the 62 level and reject. The last high, see here, we came above and then dropped. There's a little bit of an imbalance in here too. So we could be moving up to retest 1959. We could come up to the 62 level, 1964, but sellers now need to see 1959 hold in the trading day or in the trading week. Okay. Excuse me one moment. All right, so that's the level to watch on gold at the moment, 1959 up to 1964. What happens there? Can it reverse back down? If we get a strong move above there, then through the course of the week, we could be watching 1959 to become support. So that's the level that got clearly broken last week. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, we have this imbalance down here to the left. This wants to continue now in a downtrend. We could well be coming down to fill this imbalance over here. All right. So if nothing really changes, we're going to have a very significant month down on gold from that triple top area. So we could be moving lower next month. All right. All right, any questions before we finish up tonight? So we are definitely seeing, I'm just going to head back to the pound. It's still trying to move up. Getting a bit wicky up here though. So maybe we could top out there. I'd just be sitting on my hands at the moment, waiting to see if this wants to start to drift below 124. Let's just have a look. So Aussie yen has dropped below that 91.86 level I was discussing. Does it become resistance intraday? Aussie dollar, it is holding at that 79% level and the 1 hour resistance area currently. The 1 hour resistance area was there. Right, see we've hit into it, filled the imbalance that was here too, and now we're holding there at the moment. Euro yen's holding at 79% level. Euro dollar's coming up to challenge the high of last, of Asia's high. Now we could come up, the preferred level I was looking at earlier in the day, before we finish off. go to, I had, and I could draw a fib from that high. That low, from that high to that spiky low. So that is yesterday's high. We have a 79% level at 107.27. The area I was looking at was up here at 107.36, and I had a fib drawn earlier in the day from Friday's high over here. So Friday's high, yesterday was an inside day, and then we moved down. So for all that range there, the 79% level is at 107.38, and the broken daily support level is here. So that would still be an area that I would watch through the day. Whether or not we can take out the high of Asia, well, maybe we can't. You just have to monitor price action and see what's your setup to sell. This is still, that would be my much preferred level up there. I always like to trade down from resistance. So I've got day chart resistance there and a fib there too. All right. So a bit mixed at the moment. Asia was selling off. London were moving back up. This is moving down, then potentially that dollar yen could hold here to move back up. We start to see US dollar strength on the euro dollar. We're probably going to see US dollar strength there on the dollar yen. And this could be the area where we're holding to move up on the dollar yen. All right, final look at the pound. All right, buyers are still there at the moment. Let's just go back to the range of last week. We actually had a high of 124.71 last week. We could, if you really want to, we could come back up and revisit 124.48, which is that monthly double top area and the 79% level. All right. I'm not seeing a reason to sell yet, but these are the levels that I'm watching to see what price does as they move back up. 124.09 there, 62 level, 124.36 up to 124.48 at the higher level. All right, I'll leave you with that. Coming up tomorrow's education webinar. Head over to the webinar page. Sometimes this doesn't want to refresh for me, but tomorrow we're going to go through the figure. And while waiting for that to refresh. All right, so we've got the figure webinar tomorrow. And the Z, when let's look at the NAS 100. NAS 100 at the moment is moving up. All right, it is getting above the 62% level of the major range, but we're getting a shift in trend there at the moment. That monthly trend is now up on the NAS for sure. All right. At the moment, you know, buying up here is very overextended. You want to wait for a pullback. From a shorting perspective, if that's what you're looking for, I'm not seeing a signal there to short at the moment. It's just, I could most definitely see it's at the 62% level or a little bit above. You know, if we start to hold here, maybe we form a lower top here on the day chart at the 62% area here at 114.344. Sorry, at 14.344. Then, you know, maybe this is all corrective, but at the moment, you know, that is in an uptrend at the moment. And Dow Jones is a little bit different. It's in a downtrend. So, you know, but this is only 30 stocks. We'll have to think about that. But S&P 500 is up at the moment. Nasdaq's up at the moment. For the Dow, if you like to trade the Dow, this looks to me like, you know, potentially it's pulling back to a 62% level here. Maybe to put another move down here at the moment. That's in a downtrend there on the day chart on the Dow, but the S&P 500 is in an uptrend, so at the high of the move there, and so is the Nasdaq. So not perfect correlation now in the indices. And someone's asking me, I missed the pivot point webinar. If you want the recording, just contact Nathan. So if you missed that webinar and you want to get access to the recording, just contact Nathan. I'll just put his details in the chat again. Azure, are you looking to short the Nasdaq? I know you were short before. At the moment, that's just in a clear uptrend, and it's at the top of the uptrend, so it's very difficult to just take a position at the moment. Not seeing a signal to sell, and I don't know. Do you really want to buy at the top of the move? So, if you're trading it long, you really want to look for a pullback and wait for that to occur, and then see what price is doing. All right, everybody, that's today's wrap up of what the market's doing. If you've got time tomorrow, we're going to go through the figure in the webinar at 7 p.m. Sydney time. Other than that, have a great trading day. And if you have the time tomorrow, I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.